My name is Adam Andrzejewski, and I'm the founder and CEO of OpenTheBooks.com. And we've got a great show for you today on the ripoff of the week. We're going to be talking about breaking news. The 3,300 earmarks proposed by Democrats and Republicans. 324 members of Congress just proposed these earmarks that will cost you and I up to $10 billion this year. Before we get into the topic, you know our mission at OpenTheBooks.com, and I just want to review it briefly. It's to post every dime online in real time. And last year, we filed 40,000 Freedom of Information Act requests on nearly every single substantial public body in this country. And just over the course of the last 24 hours, every member of our team went through the 324 members of Congress where they posted on their own websites up to 20 earmarks apiece. And we copied all of it into an Excel database. We then mapped it so you can follow the money, so you can hold Congress accountable for their tax and spend decisions. Now, I want to introduce my co-host tonight. Her name is Tamara Colbert.
Hi, Adam. This is going to be one of our best shows yet because this is truly breaking news within the last 24 hours. Can you share with us some examples? There are a lot of egregious waste examples from these earmarks.
Just right off the bat, our team's on the leading edge of the news cycle on this. We've already been cited by Fox News. We're up at Forbes with our investigative piece. The link to the Forbes investigation will be in the chat box on this Facebook Live. So one of the most egregious earmarks is one of the smallest that we identified. A Democrat in Indiana, he proposed spending $5,000 of our money to buy, quote unquote, Santa gifts for the senior citizens in his district. Literally, this guy thinks it's Christmas with our money.
It's unbelievable.
$250,000 would expand the Michelle Obama Library. You've got $300,000 that would, in Monticello, California, that would put a new dog park in Montebello, California. $500,000, $500,000 for the Trenton Artwork Project. That's a bicycle and pedestrian path that they'll paint murals along. $1.2 million would go for this trolley in New York, and that's from a Republican, Chris Jacobs. $3.5 million would build, quote unquote, 2 fish markets, one in St. Thomas, one in the Virgin Islands. Another $500,000 would upgrade a fish market in the Virgin Islands. $7.7 million would go for the Tampa streetcar project down in Florida, and $18.6 million was proposed by Republican Don Young because he thinks we should fund a new fire station in Kodiak, Alaska.
Unbelievable.
My question as to why they think federal dollars need to be used to fund their fire station. Most communities across the country fund their own fire station.
Exactly. So do you have names of, say, the top 5 or 10 congressional representatives who are raking in the cash?
I do. And before we lose this point, everyone can come to either go to the Forbes article and click through to our interactive map, because you can look up your member of Congress. You know, people, they think that Republicans are fiscal conservatives, and there's 104 Republicans in this database where we have their earmarks. You just click a pin, that's the congressional district, scroll down to the beneath the map, and you can see the projects that they want to fund. We've got 2 representatives in Illinois, like Adam Kinzinger. Adam Kinzinger, $1 million apiece, $2 million total. He wants to build new YMCAs, one in Ottawa, Illinois, and one in Joliet, Illinois. We've got another Republican in Illinois that wants to help Millikan University, that's a private university, with $2.5 million so they can put up a new building to do their nursing program. And it's a private university, and what's the argument that we should be funding it? So look, you asked for the biggest porkers. Right off the bat, we have to go with the Republican down in Louisiana. His name is Garrett Graves. He earmarked, incredibly, $1 billion
1 billion out of the 10 billion total in earmarks? That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was one Republican, and he blew away everybody, all Republicans and all Democrats. I guess, go big or go home. He went big. He earmarked $1 billion worth of projects.
Unbelievable.
Then you've got Beth Van Dyne. She's a Republican in Texas, $350 million. Actually, 6 out of the top 8 big earmarkers are Republicans. Only 2 out of the top 8 are Democrats. 14 out of the top 25 biggest earmarkers are Republicans, and only 11. I mean, this is insane. You've got Don Young. He earmarked the 3rd most as a Republican, $150 million. He calls himself the Dean of the House. Many people will remember that he was the author of the famous earmark on the bridge to nowhere. And to this day, he argues that bridge should have been built. He said, build it and they will come. And he's the guy that's going for this firehouse. Tamara, he thinks you and I should help fund his firehouse in Kodiak, Alaska. You've got Tom Emmer. He's a Republican out of Minnesota. He earmarked $125 million of earmarks. So you can see these Republicans, boy, they just couldn't help themselves. They're going to be begging Speaker Nancy Pelosi to put their expensive earmark in these big spending bills, and that's going to be the bribe that they get to bring across Republicans to vote for these Democratic pieces of legislation.
So what about Democrat offenders and the earmarkers? What have they got?
Well, they're all over the place as well. I mean, so they actually earmarked more than Republicans, but I don't think there's a surprise there. They were honest.
Right.
They said, let's bring back the currency of corruption. Let's bring back the fiscal equivalent of the swine flu. So most of those examples that we started the program with, those are Democratic examples. Look, there's an earmark in here for, I think it's for $2 million. And we would pay. Here, let's just get the exact. It's a $1.5 million earmark requested by Mondaire Jones. He's a Democrat from New York. That would likely include us paying for gender reassignment surgery. At Forbes, we detail out the request. He responded to our request for comment, didn't deny it. In fact, he owns the earmark, says he's proud of supporting his community.
So, Adam, this is really right in the face of Senator Tom Coburn, who was instrumental in eliminating earmarks in the Congress a decade ago. You and I had a privilege last weekend to go be part of his celebration of life service because he passed away during the COVID pandemic. And it's truly unbelievable, the timing of these earmarks. What do you have to say about that, and what can people do?
Well, these earmarks come back after a 10-year hiatus. Coburn was so successful that he got earmarks banned. The ban was in place for 10 years. And unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, Republicans in the House, they took that secret vote to join the Democrats. Speaker Pelosi wanted to bring back earmarks. Of course, they want to be able to bribe Republicans to vote on a bipartisan basis for these massive aid, relief, and spending bills coming down the pike. I mean, President Biden has proposed $6 trillion worth of spending in his first 100 days. And so incentive to bring Republicans across and pass these things on what Democrats claim will be a bipartisan vote. It is the currency of corruption. And so, look, it was a very inspiring memorial service for Dr. Coburn. And Tamara, we are going to fight hard to preserve that Coburn legacy, and we will not rest until the ban on earmarks is reinstituted.
Absolutely. So what can our viewers do? I know there's a lot of really irate people right now. What would you like them to do right now about earmarks?
So 2 things. Go to our Forbes piece. At Forbes, there'll be a link to a PDF. We actually ranked all 324 members. You can see how many earmarks each one of them proposed and how much money they plan to spend that you and I are going to fund. And so that PDF document ranks them all from high to low. It's going to be something that you want to study up. The second thing is come to our website, hit the interactive map, because you can look up your member of Congress and hold them accountable. We need to raise our voice. This is just outrageous the pet projects and our money just being tossed everywhere for their political power.
Absolutely. That's openthebooks.com. And right below, you're going to be able to find that Forbes link. Please click on that. And more importantly, share that Forbes link on your Facebook page and your other social media outlets. That will help us highlight the egregious nature of Congress returning to their old corrupt ways of earmarks. Adam, you get the last word.
Well, let's link arms and walk right into the fire, walk forward, because, these are the times and these are the issues. It's been said that during times of crisis, the hottest fires in hell are reserved for those people who don't take a stand. We're taking a stand. Join us. Join the transparency revolution.
We'll see you next week for another episode of the Ripoff of the Week. 5:30 or 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern. See you then.